Hey, aloha folks, and welcome to the Klipper Golf Course. Today, I'm here with golf professional Leland Lindsay, and we are in his element. We're on the practice tee. We're just here to talk story though, get to know the coach a little better. And reason for us being here is we just want to kind of go into Leland's background a little bit, just let you know where he came from and how he got to be who he is today. So Leland, tell us, you know, you've been coaching here for how many years now?
24.
24 years. I've been here 16 years, so he's been here 8 more years than me. Shoot, how did you end up here?
Well, Henry Saratsky introduced me to Todd Murata. Henry was taking off, who was a teaching pro here, to go play in the Malaysian tour. He introduced me to Todd. We had a conversation. I played a couple rounds with him. He looked at my background, history in the professional arena, and hired me on.
Awesome.
That's how it started.
Wow, that's great. And so you've been here for 24 years, and you've taught so many people. But I think when I came aboard, what I started recognizing right away was Todd had you working a lot with some of the senior officers.
Yeah.
And you've actually gone through and taught quite a few of them, right?
Yes.
Helped a lot of them. One of my favorites, General Conant, right? You improved how many strokes on his game? You took him from what handicap to what handicap?
Well, he didn't have a handicap when he arrived. He decided it was time.
Yeah.
So let's just say we took him from a 40 to, I think he's a 12 now.
Yeah. Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
And he's, you know,
he maintains that on his own now. So
right.
Give him credit for that.
But he always comes back to see you at least once a year. He always says, I'm coming to see the coach. Yeah, so that's great. And, you know, you do a lot of our clinics, so you're helping to cultivate golfers all the time, growing the game. In fact, our Director of Human Resources, Jamie Mahuse, she said that you were the reason why she got so excited about golf, right? She came to one of your clinics, and it just went from there, and we see her out here all the time enjoying, right?
Right, in fact, bringing her name up. She was here yesterday with her group, and we started on tee box 13, and she hit it right down the middle.
That's better than me.
I have it on film.
Awesome. And so, yeah, so how did you cut your teeth in golf? I mean, you started off as a player. I know it wasn't your life's ambition to be a coach, even though you've become one of the most outstanding coaches. How did you start off? What was it that drove you to golf? How did the passion start?
My father put me in all the sports, so I played everything seasonally. The golf was always there. He was a member of a country club. He was a scratch player himself, so he always kept me at the golf course. That being said, I took to the sport when the weather was, you know, there was no surf. Or baseball season was over, football season was over, or basketball and track. So yeah, I just kind of fell into that. I had the opportunity as a young junior golfer to play here in Hawaii in the junior golf program, which was fantastic. And then went on to play high school golf, and I played on the Waga Tour in college, which is the Western Amateur Golf Association. And during that season, I came home to see my father, and my father passed away. And in that year, I turned pro at his backup club, and basically went into the assistance program. Stayed in the industry all these years.
Got it.
That quick start.
So when you were coming along, right, and you were learning the game, did someone teach you originally?
Well, yes, the Club Pro. We go to the junior golf clinics. My father always kind of kept me close by a teaching professional. I played with the professionals when I was very young, and then learned the game through them. I didn't have any one-on-one instruction, so I got to Virginia Country Club in California. A gentleman named Mickey Stevenson was the teaching pro there. My father sent me to him, and that was probably the most valuable lesson time I had.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you then?
I was 19.
19. Right. So you started the game at what age?
5.
So between 5 and 19, you kind of got pointers here and there.
Yes. And
you learn on your own.
Yes. It was kind of that method back then. We weren't over-taught. We were kind of pushed into learning how to play. I remember one of the most valuable moments in etiquette and rules was that write the score down at the back of the green after you finish the hole, move on and write it the next tee box. So the etiquette was always in there, the rules were always in there. Swing came pretty easy for me because of all the other sports with change of direction. The golf swing, in a nutshell, if you can get the lower body to move before the upper does, you have a pretty good experience with golf.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And so when you started working with Pinky, right? You said Pinky Stevenson. What was your handicap at that point? Were you already scratched?
Yeah, I was already a scratch player when I had won the state open in Hawaii when I was 14 or 15. So I was already a 0 handicap at Mid-Pac Country Club as a junior golfer. And that no ego involved there. I just played every day. I had the passion to play. I played after school with some of the pros and the members. Grew up in Lanikai, so Mid-Pac was right there on the way home.
Right.
And I was very lucky to have that type of arena available to me.
And so you said you grew up, your dad had you playing all the different sports.
Yes.
Was golf just your favorite, or what led you to making golf your main sport?
So it wasn't my favorite. Football and surfing were probably my favorite. My father, I did it for my father in the beginning. It made him happy. I could do something with him. He had something to talk about at the end of the day, or not. But when I beat him when I was 14, it was kind of a limited basis that he didn't even take me with him. He let me know that too. And I tell these juniors here that when they come with their fathers, so be careful when you beat your dad. Maybe the last day.
I can totally relate. My dad was a pretty good golfer too. He was like about a 4 handicap. And I started golfing late. I started golfing like I was 15 years old. And I kind of just stumbled into the game. But I would want to beat my dad, right? And my dad's kind of nice to me. He'd let me kind of off the hook. And I'd say, no, we count every shot. I want to beat you legitimately, you know? So finally, when I beat him, it was a huge accomplishment, right? You can probably relate, right? Okay, so you did all of that. You grew up playing all the sports. You kind of took golf on because your dad had a passion for it. You want to share something with your dad. That's awesome. I'm sure that was a great bonding between the two of you. And then you went on to become a professional. And when you turned professional, was that the WAGA?
No, WAGA was the Western Amateur Golf Association. I played in that. It was probably 150 players who played. It was college golf.
Oh, okay, sorry.
From Torrey Pines all the way up to Valencia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Every week you play.
Oh, wow.
So
that's incredible.
I played with the likes of John Cook and Marco Mera.
Oh, no way. That is great.
Not that they were any big name back then. It was just a bunch of guys playing in college trying to get some experience and stay in school at the same time.
So at what point do you turn pro then?
I came home that summer and my father passed away. And Mark Souza at the country club offered me the job, and I didn't feel like going back to California for school, so I stayed on to turn pro right then.
Okay.
And to turn pro back then, you had to play in a golf tournament, and then make a cut and make a check in order to turn pro. You just couldn't go and shoot whatever score, go to the assistance program or PAT.
Yeah.
You had to actually make a cut in a professional event. And I did that my first tournament at the Mid-Pac Open. I made a check, and that was it.
Nice. Okay.
And so it's been that way ever since.
So you turned pro, and then you were at Mid-Pac.
Right.
And you were there teaching lessons, I suppose?
Assistant pro, teaching
Assisting.
lessons,
So you were working in the shop too?
We did both, right.
Okay, working in the shop, teaching lessons, and playing a lot of golf, I'm sure.
Playing with the members too. It was kind of encouraged for us to take the members out and show them how to play the game, not just on the driving range, getting the fundamentals in. Because a lot of people, get very good at the driving range, but once you get to the golf course, they turn to someone new.
Right.
If I don't get to see who they are out there, when I'm working with them on the range, it's not really, I want to say, enhancing their golf experience. So, yeah, it was a nice roundabout way of teaching. It had everything involved. Very nice facility, still is. It's a great tournament golf course. It can be a fun golf course too. It has these conditions as well, these windy sea breezes all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Great experience.
And so, how many years at Mid-Pac, approximately?
So, I've actually worked there that time, I worked for a few years there. Then I went on the mini tours. I came back. I worked again in the early '90s, and then I went back again and worked for that for just another season or two.
How many years on the mini tours?
Many. You know, in and out of different things. The last one was the Sun Belt tour.
Wow.
And this, of course, Hawaii has its own little tour. I played mostly here. So,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
And hard to leave the islands.
So a lot of playing golf, a lot of back and forth with Mid-Pacific.
Right.
And then is that what led you to the Klipper after that, or was there some other intermediate steps in between there?
So no, yeah, it's basically with tournament golf. I came back here and I was playing, getting established back in Hawaii. I was working at the Pacific Golf Academy on Nimitz Highway with all the tech stuff, the high-end teaching availability we had back then.
Right.
Those machines, and then from there I was actually hired here, so I was doing both. And then it came down to the point where it was hard to do both, so I took on this 100%. You did the junior program and so forth. Again, Todd has been very gracious.
Yes.
On all these years, we have a nice relationship, not only as his instructor too,
right,
but as one of his fellow teaching instructors.
All right, and folks,
I'm grateful.
Todd Murata is our general manager. Todd Murata is also a PGA professional. He was our head professional before he was assigned to bigger tasks on the base. Todd's my boss and Leland's, and that is who he's referring to. I'd like to get Todd on here one day, but he's a little camera shy right now, so I'm still twisting his arm, but look forward to seeing him soon. But anyway, Leland, so you got here, and initially when you were here and I first came aboard, you were doing a lot of teaching, but you were still heavily involved in playing tournament golf. And then at some point, you decided, okay, it's time for me to go 100% into teaching. And then I've just been observing over the years and watching what a great job you've been doing of developing golfers and helping them like drop a lot of shots off of their handicaps. Like Jason Zucchini working in the pro shop, he went from like, I don't know what he was, a double-digit handicap all the way down to like a 3 now.
I remember playing with him the first time just casually, and I could see the spark in his game. I could see the interest in competition too. He birdied the first hole with me, and then he got up in the next hole, and I birdied that hole too. And I could see that he didn't like the fact that I may have beat him by 1 shot on the second hole. So we worked on the swing a little bit. We understood the mental game has to be attached to the physical game all the time. You can't separate the two. You can't play one day physical and one day mental. You got to combine them. And yeah, it's fun to watch. We have a little event we do here on the weekends to kind of get the students to play with the command group.
Yeah.
We're grateful to have them on board. Since General Conan and Soft Tee and Clearfield and also General Rudder, and now we have General Green who's part of that. So we appreciate the involvement, but everybody gets a place to benchmark their skill.
Nice.
And work on the physical and mental and in a competitive arena.
Nice.
And then be a sportsman at the end of the day.
Nice. But what was, you know, I'm kind of like guessing, what was Jason's handicap when he first came to see you?
So I would say 12.
He was about a 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the way down to a 3.
Yeah.
So that's like what? That's like nine shots off of his handicap.
And we don't work that much together all that time. We have just those periodically we'll get together and do a few tune-ups, checkups. When he's under pressure, I can see where the shot may need a little attention to change.
Nice.
That's probably the best place for us instructors. It's not so much the driving range, it's when you're hitting a shot when everybody's watching or the lights are on, and you feel the pressure and you revert back to something that doesn't work or your change doesn't fit, and then you kind of nurture that, clean that up, and keep focused on that. That makes the player better. Not jumping to the next shiny object that's out there. And YouTube, of course, is a great teaching aid for most. Right. It's available, but jumping from one thing to another every time something seems to be somewhat, off kilter is probably not a good idea. Try to keep people a little bit more stable on facts and fiction.
Well, there's a lot of good stuff out there, and
yes.
I think the big problem is for a lot of the novice golfers is understanding what's good for them to be listening to and what's not, right? Because it's not for everybody. You can have good information, but specific to the individual. Yeah, and I think that's when an instructor is important, right?
We have to look at realistically. If you have a move that you'll make that's not going away,
yeah,
you need to be aware of that. Not to shut it down per se, but to be aware of how to put fixes on that before you hit. And know it's coming back. So it's a footprint, fingerprint, DNA, whatever you want to call it, but it's very obvious to me as an instructor, plus a player. I had to watch who I was playing against all the time, and when you're playing with pros all the time, you see a lot of good things happening, and you see what doesn't work.
Right.
And you work on not being that particular swing position, or even the chipping or putting, or mental side. So that kind of influences that's a big influence in my teaching. I make sure they get all that in the lesson, not just one specific area, and then we branch out from that. Try to play a couple holes.
Nice.
See if they can follow through.
Okay, so now I want to know, when you made that transition from player to instructor, what was it how did you grow as an instructor? Because you definitely have blossomed into someone that it's as if you specialized in this all your life, yet you were primarily more of a player before. What was it that helped you to transition into being such an expert in teaching the game?
I think when when you put down the clubs to play competitively, it's one of the hardest things. You reach a certain place where you've accomplished. I mean, for me, I had enough goals that I had achieved. I had come to a place where we were getting very busy here, and there was a need for a little bit more attention to the clientele. And then also, I was accepting that I would probably get everything that my student was bringing to me. Every swing fault or swing position that I didn't want to think about or even see in front of me. So I got basically the ER job. I get people come into me and I've got to fix you, and then I'm not sure what's coming in next. So I got to have so many varieties of swing positions, swing changes to make. That basically was interesting for me to keep trying to build someone into their best, physical golfer, mental golfer.
Best version of themselves.
It got me up earlier in the morning. Stop being as selfish as you are as a competitive golfer. You're pretty much in this little cocoon that you can't, look outside of. Otherwise, you'll be influenced by what's around you. So once I gave that up and was willing to be vulnerable to my swing having some, I would say, some faults and some change necessary too, I found a way to teach. And basically, Ledbetter Golf Academy helped me really, find the fundamentals, the sequences of the swing, the mental distractions, and the pre-shot, how to get you, into your pre-shot, into the shot, and onto the next. So it's not what if, it's what now. Basically, most people drag around the shot they just hit, good or bad, and I'm trying to teach people to understand their swing a little bit. Also, it's the interesting part about the golf course is it can change your swing in just a moment. You're at a position on certain sides of the golf course, and you lose your swing, because swinging from the right to the left with a crosswind that's coming from left to right, you take your swing and derail it, debunk it. And so putting that back together was very interesting. In tournament golf, I still, I will pick it up again in a heartbeat. It's the most exciting of all the sports, other than maybe big wave surfing, and you're dropping in a wave that you shouldn't have and a little too far back. Pulling that off is something, but to pull off a 3-foot putt to win, to hit a drive down the middle on the first tee shot in the golf tournament, those first and last shots are amazing. You get those. I'm here now, and I appreciate all of you, and working with you has been a pleasure as well.
Thank you.
Seeing you know, that you're willing to make a few changes and understand them, and physically you're capable of those changes, because a lot of my students come to me injured. You know, they're coming from some physical ailment or not enough flexibility. So, you know, getting them mobile is important. So the flexibility is a big thing as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, thanks. Yeah, thank you, Leland. And I appreciate all your help too. But thank you for sharing your story with us. This was very interesting, and I enjoyed listening to it. But before we let you go, folks, I got to tell you something. This is my testimony for Leland here. When I first came aboard to work here at the Klipper, I watched Leland in giving lessons, practicing his game and everything like that. And I recognized right away that I'd never seen anyone as committed or as devoted to his craft as Leland. He was here what seemed to be 7 days a week, from sun up to sundown, and he was practicing. And when he wasn't doing that, he was teaching. And then, like we said, we watched him transition into just 100% instructor. And I've been working in golf for the last 30-40 years of my life, and I've seen many great instructors at many great facilities on the island of Oahu, but I have never seen anyone as devoted, as committed, as all in as Leland is, not only to the game, not only to himself, but to his pupils. So if you want to find an instructor that is just going to really invest in you and give you 100% of what he's got, this is your man right here. So that's what I got to say about you, Leland.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. It's an honor. And folks, thank you for listening to Leland's story. Come out and see him. He's here. He's ready to help you, okay? And we'll see you at the Klipper. Aloha.